Setting it up.
Hey, Lisa's here. How you doing, Lisa?
Hi there. How's everything going? Nice plane in the background there.
Thank you.
You should be out.
What's that?
You should be out flying it right now.
I had thought crossed my mind as well.
Were you going to say something a second ago?
Exactly what you said.
Oh, yeah, I do that sometimes.
Yeah, I call that my midlife crisis. Hey, Dave. All right, I've got 1,500.
All right, let me click start and we'll go. Okay, we're good to go, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Reed, the chair of the Airport Advisory Committee. This is the online meeting for Tuesday, March 8th, 2022, per Executive Order 29-20, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. The committee members will be participating via Zoom, and no members of the public will be in attendance at the meeting in the interest of public health and safety. In addition, this meeting is live streamed, and the committee staff have made arrangements for the public to comment using the Zoom webinar platform. We appreciate the public's cooperation. I will go over the specifics of how to join the webinar, and will give details on how the public can offer their public testimony. I will now call the Airport Advisory meeting of Tuesday, March 8th to order. First, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and
justice for all.
Thank you. Now I will call the roll. Buzz Gibbs. I think I see you there, Buzz. Lisa Golden.
Here.
Thank you. Chuck McGill.
Present.
Ron Lee.
Present.
Rich Martindale.
Present.
David Gordon.
Here.
Tom Ricotta.
Here.
Did I miss anyone?
Mike Ogilvy.
Mike Ogilvy. Excellent. There you are at the top. I went right by us. All right. Okay. And we have Montgomery's finest, Joel Ryan from the control tower, representing us. Thank you for your attendance. Each committee member is attending virtually. Also, the virtual meeting is the City of San Diego Department of Real Estate and Airport Management, Airport Deputy Director Jorge Rubio, and members of his fine staff. The committee meeting will be held virtually using the Zoom webinar platform. I'm sorry, guys, I have to read this. It's legal. Members of the public can offer public comment on items by accessing the Zoom webinar online using a desktop computer, laptop, tablet, or smartphone, or by calling into the meeting using a smartphone, cell phone, or landline. The link to join the committee meeting webinar by computer, tablet, or smartphone is listed on the agenda on how to join by iPhone 1 tab. To join the Zoom webinar by telephone, you may dial either 1-669-254-5252. When prompted, input the webinar ID 160-069-0781. This information is also available on the agenda. When I introduce the item you would like to comment on, you will raise your hand by either tapping the raise your hand button on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, or by pressing *9 on your phone. You will be taken in the order in which you raise your hand. You may only speak once on a particular item. When Deputy Director Rubio indicates it's your turn to speak, he will call you by your name as it appears on the Zoom webinar attendee list, or he will read out the last 4 digits of your phone number if you have called into the meeting. That's how you will know it is your turn to speak. If you have joined the webinar by computer, tablet, or smartphone, you will receive a pop-up notice to select unmute your device. If you have called into the meeting by cell phone or landline, press *6 on on your phone to unmute yourself. We will review these instructions briefly again when the public comment period on an item is open. Please wait until the item you wish to speak to has been called before raising your hand to speak. If you raise your hand during a non-comment period, your hand will be lowered. When you are announced as the next speaker, please unmute yourself and offer your comments. Also, please mute the volume of your TV or computer before you begin to speak. A quorum is now present. So we are at item number 3, non-agenda public comment. Per temporary rule 2.6, non-agenda public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the committee. Each speaker, well, I'm sorry, there's a period that I missed. But within the subject matter jurisdiction of the committee, each speaker will have 3 minutes. The public comment period for non-agenda public comment is now open. If you have already joined the Zoom webinar by online or by phone, please raise your hand if you wish to speak. If you're watching on City TV or live stream online and would like to call into the meeting to speak, please call 1-669-254-5252. When prompted, input webinar ID 160-069-0781. Director Rubio, do we have anybody that's in line to speak for non-agenda public comment?
We don't have any public comment.
Thank you. Item number 4, approval of minutes. Are there any public comments for this agenda item?
No public comment for this agenda item.
Okay, did everybody have an opportunity to review the minutes? And would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes as they are? Before we do 2 minor corrections, and this is just to prove that I read it. Under item number 3, second sentence, the word B-E-N-N should be B-E-E-N. And item number 7, second bullet point, first line, an airport where an aircraft, not and aircraft.
Right.
Anybody else have anything? All right, we have a motion to approve these meetings.
I so move.
Chuck has moved that we approve.
Martindale seconds.
Martindale seconds. Thank you, Rich. We'll go down and call your vote. Mike Ogilvy, yay or nay?
Yay.
Thank you. Buzz Gibbs.
Hey, yay.
Thank you. Lisa Golden.
Aye, yes.
Thank you. Chuck McGill.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you. Ron Lee.
Yay.
Thank you. Rich Martindale.
Yay.
Thank you. Dave Gordon.
Yes.
Thank you. Tom Ricotta.
Yes.
And I vote yay. It's unanimous. Motion is so moved. Okay. Item number 5, unfinished business. There are no unfinished items. Let's move to agenda item number 6. New business. This is the Air Center MYF project status update. Mr. Rubio, are there any public comments for this agenda item?
There are no public comments for this agenda item.
Mr. Rubio, please go ahead and talk about this new business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the Air Center MYF project, I don't know if you remember, but this is a project that Corporate Helicopters was looking to do over here on the right side as you enter the airport on the main entrance on that plot of land just north of MYF properties. And that's what it is about. It is a project that has already gone to council for approval. It actually extended, we actually extended some time for them to get some of the permits in place. Now, there were a couple of issues, and I don't like to use COVID, like, you know, as something that impeded this, but even COVID had a little bit to play into this one. So we're coming today and we're going to show you what the request is at the moment. And let me, if you can just hang on with me, I'll be able to go through them. So Air Center MYF received city approval for a 50-year lease around 2016-17. The lease was to develop a 3-phase helicopter FBO development at Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport. And that was actually March of 2018. And per the agreement, they are to invest $9 million at the airport if they exercise all of the options that they have. So that is obviously the phase 1 and the option 2 and option 3 for the additional properties. The first phase consists of 6,000 square feet of offices, 40,000 square feet of executive hangars, 113,000 square feet of concrete ramp. It also includes a public viewing area and about 4.63 acres that they were going to put parking on. And that is just the first phase, again, for $5 million. So one of the reasons why the city was looking to put this item through and get it approved is because the project also increased efficiency and safety at the airport, but basically by relocating and separating helicopters from regular fixed-wing aircraft by putting them basically in one location at the moment. Right now, most of them are at the Crown Air leasehold. So the services that they provide at the moment, because they are on the field, they provide full service FBO services, such as charters, tours, flight training, helicopter sales, helicopter maintenance. They do some utility flying, aerial filming and photography, of road racing and aerial support. Again, they are at the Crown Air. So at Crown Air, they own 2 hangars, 8,500 square feet. They lease 2 hangars at about 7,200 square feet. They lease off an office building of about 5,500 square feet. And the total is about 21,000 square feet that they are occupying at that facility at the moment. So this is just a background summary. There's more to it, but I'm just giving you the summary. So the minimum required investment again is $5 million within the first with the first year's rent of $105,000. If the options for parcel 2 and parcel 3 or parcel 3 are executed, then the annual rent is obviously more, and it could be up to $68,000. And the additional investment for parcels 2 and 3 would be $4 million. So bringing this to $9 million total of improvements at the airport. So in the lease agreement, they are to provide us with other concessions as far as rent is concerned. So there's a periodic inflation and market rate adjustment to the rent. And if they sell a hangar after it is built and they sell it to somebody else, the city makes 2% of that transaction that will be coming to the Airport Enterprise Fund. As far as the project status, the lease term was to start no later than March 8th of 2020. That is the original lease, and they were supposed to basically get the construction going on at this date and start paying rent at this time. They came to us because there were some issues in trying to get all of the allocations and all of the permits in place. So we requested the first amendment to a lease to extend it by 2 years, and that moved the date to March 8th of 2022, which coincidentally, that's today. So they're unable to, they have been unable to get all of the permits in order to get the development going. But the lessee came to us and they are requesting additional time in order to obtain all of the entitlements to move it forward. And I can tell you that they've been working hard at this, and they have contracts in place already that they're trying to make sure that it goes, but they do need additional time. So the city is looking to recommend to City Council an extension of up to 3 years or until March 8th of 2025. And there's a lot of reasons why. The first one is in consideration for the extension, the lessee will not only provide an additional $1 million of initial capital investment in the project. So instead of doing $5 million, they're looking to do $6 million for phase 1. But also, the lessee initially submitted plans to review on October 8th of 2019 to DST, and they were not receiving approval. So the lessee, however, received a determination from DST on August 19th of 2021 that a site development permit would not be required for this, making it a ministerial action on the side of the city. So the lessee has existing contracts in place, like I mentioned, in place for over $600,000 at the moment. And something that is new, I don't know if you remember it, but we have had, for example, the MAP project that needed to conduct an environmental assessment, and that is a federal, that is not only CEQA. So the lessee will also need to meet FAA required NEPA requirements, which could be, depends on how the FAA sees this. We could either get a categorical exclusion, which is a quick a document to get. In a sense, it's just only a few months and they can provide you with a document. But if it goes more extensive than that, the FAA says that maybe a year or longer will be the time for them to go through this process. But the lessee is, I'm familiar with the federal process, and we're looking to help them develop this. And in a sense, that's the update that we have right now. At the moment, we are drafting a staff report in order to take it to the Land Use and Housing Committee, and then to City Council to request this request for the extension. And we wanted to bring this forward to you so that we can obtain proper comment from you and see if you have any questions. That's the update. Happy to answer any questions.
Dave, got his hand up.
Yeah, Jorge, I'm kind of appalled that the Development Services, it's been 2.5 years since the plans were submitted and DSD has yet to give any kind of approval. Can you reach out to somebody, your counterpart at DSD, and see what the holdup is, and maybe get this off of, sitting on somebody's desk or whatever? I mean, I've dealt with land use in the city, and that's just normal. They are slow, but this is like 10 times slower than most normal plan reviews.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they have a reason why it's taken so long?
Well, I think it was a combination of many things. One of them was I think the developer didn't really think that if they needed to conduct a full environmental review, that they would be able to afford it. So I don't know really what the communication was back and forth with DSD and the developer, but obviously it was much slow. I am more than happy to reach out to DSD and find out from their side what the situation was and report back. But at the moment, where we are right now, the developer really needs additional time. And now with the FAA required NEPA environmental review, it's definitely adding more time to something that is really unknown to the developer at the time.
Okay, it just seems ridiculous that it's taken this long.
I want to echo Dave's comments. The business environment in San Diego is horrible. They are just oppressive for anybody trying to get anything done, and they just move slower than molasses. And they're just, I mean, we've had 2 mayors comment on it, and nothing's happened.
Jorge, the NEPA is the National Environmental Protection Agency, or what does that stand for?
The National Environmental Protection Agency basically requires anybody. So back in 2019, let me just go back a little bit. Back in 2018, with the Repropriation Act at the federal level, a bill was introduced to try to ease the way that projects happen at airports. The purpose of what we call the Part 163 requirements were to see if the FAA actually had federal action on development at the airport, and they wanted to basically see if anything that was aviation related, then they would oversee. Anything that was not aviation related or wasn't, or if the land wasn't acquired with airport funds, then they would not have any action on this type of items. The situation that we're in at the moment is that this development will deal with aircraft operations. It is an aviation development. So first, as the airport, we have to submit what we call for a Part 163 determination. I cannot speak for the FAA, but what I can tell you is based on my experience dealing with this situation, since this type of development will deal with aircraft, that the FAA will say, hey, this development needs to submit for an environmental review. And that's basically what it is. There's several levels of environmental reviews. After they give us that letter of determination, we will be able to find out exactly what is it that we need to submit to the FAA in order for them to determine what type of environmental review would be needed. Now, I know that, for example, when somebody conducts a CEQA determination, I know that the FAA, there are sometimes a little bit better at getting that information and getting the review process done in a quicker manner. But if the CEQA review is a little more stringent, then the process may be elongated a little bit. We are dealing with the same situation over here for the fire department on the north side. The FAA is actually conducting, well, for the fire department, there's actually two things that have happened. First, they put the path for the helicopters that they acquired. That was a categorical exclusion that they were able to give us. But then for the other ones where they're trying to put hangars, that is actually going through an environmental assessment review, an EA review, which is taking a little longer.
Thank you very much for that detailed explanation. I also agree with Mr. Gordon and Mr. Martindale that if there's anything we can do to help these guys get this done, I would like to put the full weight of the committee behind it. They're very good tenants. They've been there a long time. They're an important part of the airport. I want to help them with this if we can.
Yes. We're definitely committed to helping them, and that is actually one of the reasons why we're requesting a little bit longer time that we would probably do.
Okay, any other questions for Director Rubio?
I have one, but just as a comment, NEPA is National Environmental Policy Act. So you should make the minutes say it correctly.
Right. Thank you. Well,
Thank you. Okay, moving on to staff reports. Item number 7. Director Rubio, are there any public comments regarding staff reports?
I do not see anybody with public comment for staff reports.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn it back over to you then, sir. Director Rubio, please take it away for your staff reports.
Thank you so much. So at the January and February meeting, I talked about an incident that potentially happened at one of the airports in Watsonville, where an aircraft with higher octane needs went to a pump, and apparently they were stopped by an operations personnel, and that apparently happened at Watsonville Airport. I want to clarify that we as a city, we are unable to substantiate that report. So I just wanted to let you know that. I wanted to come forward and tell you that's what happened. But if anything else comes out of that, I will be happy to report back to this committee again. However, what we are doing is, as a city, we are looking to put together that FAST team, FAA FAST team webinar in order for us to bring experts on the field of, like, how UL94 really works. Is it good for your aircraft? Is it not good for your aircraft? And that type of thing. So we're trying to make sure that everybody's well informed, and that's not going to be coming from us. That's going to be coming from the really professionals that deal with UL94 on a more constant basis. With that being said, I want to reassure you that we're looking to implement the unleaded retail sale of unleaded fuel at Montgomery, Gibbs, and Brownfield airports as soon as we can. Obviously, we want for that to be efficient. We want for that to be safe for everyone, and we are continuing on that journey. So that's one of our top priorities. The other item that I wanted to mention is the FAA's based aircraft database. I'm not sure if you're familiar what that is, but basically, if you have an aircraft at the airport and you consider it to be based, and there's different ways to make sure that it is based. One of them is when we conduct hangar inspections. That aircraft N number actually comes to us. We upload that information onto the FAA website. And what that does on the FAA side is it tells the FAA what type of airport we are. For general aviation airports, there's four categories of airport. It's basic, local, regional, and national. At this point, Montgomery Gibbs is being upgraded to a national airport based on the number of aircraft that we have. However, at Brownfield, we were a national airport, and now we are being downgraded to a regional airport. That has to do also with not only with the number of aircraft that come in, but also, like, if the aircraft are flying to only within the United States, or if the aircraft are flying to Mexico or somewhere else, all those things play a role into it. But then the base aircraft database that the FAA has literally tells the FAA how much money they need to give us when situations, for example, such as the appropriations that came out this last year through the BILL program are out. To give you an example, a regional airport, based on the regional status that they have, could get around $300,000. A national airport gets over $2 million to perform its capital improvement work. So it is really crucial for us to maintain all of the aircraft that are based here. Something else that I wanted to mention to you, and again, we're more than willing to work with those that are actively working on aircraft to bring them airworthy. Non-airworthy aircraft do not count. So we understand that the feeling that tenants have that aircraft are, even if they're not airworthy, that's the aircraft. The FAA does not see it that way, and we want to see an active airport, and obviously it hurts our airport whenever we see an aircraft that is just being stored and not doing anything else. So I wanted to point that out. In regards to I'll be happy to answer questions in the end. So I see a couple of hands that are up. In regards to the BILL program, also, there is an opportunity for airports now, even GA, to apply for and potentially replace airport terminals, so aging infrastructure. At the moment, we're looking at what that would do for Montgomery Gibbs and Brownfield. Potentially, we will be applying for one or both, depending on what happens. But at the moment, we don't even have a scope as to how that would look like. So we may not apply this year because we don't have the plans. We don't have any of the scope as to how that would look like. But maybe next fiscal year, we will be ready to apply to see if we qualify and we can actually replace some of the aging terminal infrastructure at our airports. That's the report that I have. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Dave Gordon has his up, and I think Tom Ricotta does too. Dave, go ahead.
Jorge, in that grading for the different categories, you said it's based on how many airworthy airplanes are at the airport, home base to the airport. Does it also have any, does the number of operations per year, does that enter into it?
It does count. And that is actually one of the reasons why I think Montgomery Gibbs is also, they're looking also to upgrade Montgomery Gibbs to a national at the moment.
Yeah, because I know last year we had over 300,000 operations at Montgomery, which I think was a new record. Joel could probably tell you more about that.
Tom?
Yeah, how many aircraft was Brownfield short to keeping that criteria?
So one of the things that happened is, Tom, and I got to tell you this, is the FAA did not let us know that they had downgraded, that they were in the process of downgrading the airport last year. So I think, is David Reed with us? I think David has the information on the number of aircraft. David, are you online? Probably not.
Director Rubio, what were the grades again? Basic, regional, national?
Basic, local, regional, and national.
That's it. Local, regional. So we went from regional to national. Wow.
Yeah. So, Mr. Ricotta, we will get back to you with those numbers. So we'll be happy to send that information to everyone.
I just wondered if we were 2 planes short or 100 planes short.
I think at Brownfield, the situation was specifically with jet aircraft at the moment. I think we were probably 2 or 3 short.
Ooh.
So we need 2 or 3 more jets there to boost it up?
Correct.
All right.
Cut somebody a deal.
We've been doing that for many years.
Yeah.
Yep. Any more questions? Okay. All right. So let's move with, since we're talking about Brownfield, let's move with Andy, the airport manager for Brownfield Municipal Airport.
Good afternoon, and if I can comment on that real quickly, we did submit our based aircraft list, but we did have 10 that were contested. Meaning, when they came back, we submitted the list, they came back, they said there was 10 that aircraft that people or airports were saying that were at other airports. So we're in the process of trying to go through that list and see if we can grab some more of those aircraft that were on there. So that was part of the deal as well. Just a couple things on my list today. I just want to comment on the count. We are down by 34% last month, and that was due basically to the fact that we had an ATC 0 in effect for about 6 to 7 days last month. So that means we didn't have a controller up there clicking our count for us. So the difference between last month, this year, and last year was about 34%. So that's partly the reason for it, is the fact that we didn't, our tower was closed and we didn't have anybody clicking the count. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. Just before the meeting, I got word that we finally were able to get a contractor that had all their paperwork and was okay with the city. We had them come in and they have completed the repairs on gate 2. So gate 2 is back up and running again. And then we're also going to get the rest of our gates, get some repairs and service done to those. Just a couple other items. We had Powerland out here last month doing some spraying on the airport surfaces and around the perimeter fences. So I don't know if you've noticed that, but there's a lot of weeds. We say out here, we don't like to make things grow. We like to make them die because we have so much acreage out here. So they did do a spray. So we have gotten rid of a lot of the weeds that we don't like the tumbleweeds, things that blow around during the severe winds. And then last but not least, we're still working on filling some vacancies down here. One is the GMW2, and then also me and Charlie also working on filling an ops position that exists between both airports. That's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Speaking of long-running slow projects, how's the redevelopment at Brownfield? Where does it stand?
Mr. Martindale, I would be happy to take that one. The redevelopment at Brownfield is still moving along. We're hoping to break ground before the end of the year. We're working on some final entitlements. One of them is the FAA, even though we went through the environmental assessment process, we still need to move some of the land from aviation to non-aviation. So we have the paperwork from the FAA. We just need to sign it, send it back. And then the other aspect of it is actually we need there's land at Brownfield that will be designated for environmental mitigation land. So we're putting those final agreements in place, and we're hoping to get everything set basically by, I would say, around October timeframe, so that the developer can move in and start developing.
Here's another one where we've been talking about this one for years, and in the meantime, Crown Air has developed and improved their whole property. It just baffles me.
Right. It's a much bigger project than Crown Air, but you can rest assured that we're doing the best that we can. And to be honest with you, we're dedicating a lot of time to make sure that this project starts as quickly as we can.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's no more questions for Andy, let's move to Charles Broadbent, the airport manager for Montgomery Gibbs.
All right, thank you, Jorge. Good afternoon, everyone. Just to start off, there were over 22,000 flight operations in February. We're down about 8.7% from last February, but numbers are still very high. AGS repaired gate 9 today and also 11B. So they're a contractor that we brought on to perform some maintenance on our gates and also repair some of those gates that were damaged. So we're happy to get those repaired. thanks for bearing with us on some of those. But they're all good to go now, and we'll continue to maintain those. Also, we're working on automating the gate card application and testing process through VOC. So we're just in the final stages of working out the bugs on that, and then it'll be on our website, and there'll be a link that applicants can go to, and it's an automated process. So looking forward to rolling that out very soon. And the operations assistant interviews will be held March 16th, 17th, and the 30th. And so we've got those all scheduled and some good candidates to interview. Powerland did put down a pre-emergent in the safety areas to help with weed abatement, and then they'll be out in the next couple weeks to do some mowing. And lastly, Elite Security, they were awarded the RFP. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before, but they have the RFP for 2 years, or they have the contract now for 2 years to provide night security to the airport to keep everybody's airplane and assets safe on the airport. So that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Hey, I got a question for you. Same one I asked last time. Any development on getting the asphalt repaired at Marigold?
Yeah, we're looking into that to get a quote. Basically, we were looking at our budget, and we should be able to put that in the budget to do a crack seal and slurry seal, and potentially dig out and repair some of those really bad areas there. So that's definitely on the list.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Dave?
Yeah, hey, Charlie, a couple questions. You said gate 9 is repaired. Is that the one by Advanced Aircraft?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, because I swore I just drove by it this afternoon. It still had cones in front of it.
Yeah, they repaired it this today. They were done just after lunch, so it may have been you probably drove by after or before they had made the repairs. It's
Okay.
repaired, so it's all functioning and repaired. So
Do we now have a contract in place where when one of those gates breaks, we can get the contractor out there in a reasonable amount of time? Because it's been ridiculous for all this stuff going on in the last several months. And I know you're working on it, but sounds like the contracting people didn't give you the right kind of contract.
right, yeah, there was a little bit of an issue with the contractor that won the RFP for the whole city, but I was able to reach out to AGS, Automated Gate Services, and they have a contract, temporary, maintenance purchase order. It's not a contract to provide those services until the next fiscal year. So through June 30th. So we do, yes, have a contractor in place. So if a gate goes down, we can call them and they'll come out quickly. And they also did complete some repairs at Brownfield, as Andy was mentioning. So yeah, they're working out great so far.
Then another subject on the report that goes with the minutes. Notice that the total number of operations for 2021 on your report says 292,805 for last year. Is it calculated different than the tower calculates theirs? Or do you get it from the tower? Because I know I was flying on was it the 30th or 31st, and they went over 300,000 on that day.
Right. Their fiscal year is October to October, I believe, and then ours is June to June. So that's
okay.
That's why the numbers are a little bit different.
I think theirs is January to December because they
Okay.
Yes, it was on, I think it was either New Year's Eve or the day before they hit 300,000. I was 299,999.
All right. Wow. Yeah, a lot of operations, but yeah, just because those different accounting periods, it makes it a little bit different, but still a lot of operations.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that.
Gibbs?
Hey, Charlie, how do they account for operations at night when the tower is not closed? Do they have a fudge factor, or do they get the little thing from the cameras, or Do we just fake it?
Well,
Or
actually,
pretend they don't happen.
they don't count those when the tower's closed after 9 p.m. They don't count those operations that take place. So technically, there are more operations than that are accounted for, because it's only while they're in the tower counting each aircraft.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Any more questions for Charlie? Okay,
So one thing that I wanted to also clarify is the control tower, actually, they have two numbers that they put out. One of them is airport operations, and the other one is basically total operations. Total operations includes transitioning aircraft that are going through but are not using or trying to attempting to land or take off. So the tower also counts those. Now, for our portion of the airport, we use what we call the airport operations, which is part of what the FAA really uses for the airport itself. So there may be a discrepancy there too, but we can look into that. So with that being said, let's just move over to Mr. Thurman Hodges with the real estate team.
Well, good afternoon, committee members. I'm going to give you the real estate update. Airports is currently working with Executive Air Park and the San Diego Regional Airport Authority on the relocation of the United Airlines hangar terminal to MYF. That's a historic structure, and there are a number of steps involved in that process. Airports are also working with Coast Air Center to provide them with an interim lease for additional aircraft parking. On the Metropolitan Airport Development Project, MAP has issued the city a 180-day notice to start construction. And as a result, Airports has issued a 180-day notice of termination to Aubrey. And that will start the process for Aubrey to terminate a sublease, clear the site, and remediate the site before we turn it over to Metropolitan Airport. Airports is finalizing the right of entry access agreement for MAP to access areas that are not covered by their lease agreements on the airport for their construction activities. We're also finalizing a right of entry for MAP to access the mitigation land that's on the north side of the airport, currently north or in the vicinity of the Aubrey leasehold. The office complex, ECP is continuing to lease office space there, and they are now be adding an additional 2,075, approximately 2,700 square feet of additional office space, which will generate an additional $4,700 per month. In addition, we've got the City Transportation Department has executed an MOU with Airports and moved into approximately 6,000 square feet of office space at 8575 Gibbs Drive. That will generate approximately $9,900 a month, or approximately $120,000 a year. They also are looking to take some temporary space on the first floor and have indicated that they've contracted with Gensler to provide planning, space planning for the second floor, as they intend to take that entire second floor at 8575 Gibbs Drive. On the retail center, Airports is transferring money to the capital budget so that we can move forward with engineering capital projects. We'll be soliciting bids for the replacement of the roof at 8690 Arrow Drive, the larger retail building. We're also drafting a request for quotes for refurbishing the exterior of the building, which would include painting, lighting improvements, new signs, and things of that nature. The airport is also considering soliciting a property management firm to actually manage the office and retail complex. We're hoping to do that sometime after the beginning of the next fiscal year. At Lot 8A, we potentially have one small hangar available for lease, and we're working with agreements to cover the other vacancies that have occurred in the last few months. We received the approval from the FAA for the sale of 9575 Arrow Drive, the ARC property, and we're moving forward to process that sale. The hotel at 8110 Arrow Drive, we're still working with the city attorney on the legal issues related to the monies owed, as well as the recapture of parcel B. We met with the San Diego Community College District a few weeks ago to discuss renewing their lease of that hangar. We've completed an appraisal for the renewal, and we'll be sending them a lease proposal in the next few days for them to, well, we'll be recommended to City Council a 10-year lease with a 5-year option. San Diego Community College District will be asked to replace the roof, to paint the hangar, and install asphalt in front of the hangar building. The Customs and Border Protection Mobile Response Team at Brownfield Airport are vacating the property that they have leased from us for several years. There's a large nose duct hangar with office and a box hangar on the site. Airports has also completed hangar inspections both at Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport and at Brownfield. And we're currently working with the tax assessor's office on the possessory interest taxes for our lessees. That concludes a summary of the projects we're working on. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I have a, oh, sorry.
I have my hand up.
So do I.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Thurman, good to see you again. It's been a long time.
A pleasure.
If you're looking to increase the parking for Coast Flight Center, where are you looking to get more space?
Well, this is interim parking, and they've been working with our director, Jorge Rubio. So we've got already, we're making arrangements for them to have some parking on the ramp outside of right outside of their leasehold. They've constructed some tie downs there, but the planes are actually encroaching outside of their leasehold. So we're putting together an agreement for that. And they've also discussed, at least on an interim basis, leasing some space, I believe, at our transit ramp.
I see. Thank you. And that second question may be appropriate for Jorge instead of you, but if we already have a leasing department within the airport division, yourself and a few others,
right?
Why would we go hire a property management company and just put in another layer of expense?
Actually, we've looked at this because they're doing it at corporate, and it actually streamlines a lot of the process for contracting work. So instead of going through the bidding process that we would have, we would set aside a budget for the property management company to be able to tap into and go with contractors that they already have on board without soliciting quotes every time we need something done, which would require staff time, require time from the budgeting department, require time from purchasing and contracting, and it causes a lot of delays in getting contracts put in place. So this streamlines the process and actually saves the city a lot of money because staff time is not allocated to those activities.
Okay, so it would bypass a lot of the government bureaucracy that slows down.
Yes, and in doing so, will save us all a lot of money because when we do a project, we engage a lot of city staff, and it takes a lot of time, our time, as well as the times of the various departments that are engaged in this process, particularly purchasing and contract.
Yeah. Thank you. And again, it's good to see you again.
All right, a pleasure.
The other thing that I wanted to add to that. Oh, my apologies.
Sorry, Jorge. I was just going to say, if I could throw my 2 cents in on that, anytime you can have private enterprise do something instead of the city bureaucracy, it's going to be done faster, more efficiently. But you just don't want people calling a Thurman every time there's a leaky faucet, you know. So Dave Gordon has his hand up.
Yeah, I had one question, but before we get off that subject about Coast, where are the you said they were adding additional tie downs adjacent to their leasehold. Which part of that is that between them and Golf Taxiway, or this probably for Jorge or?
Yes, Thurman, allow me to respond. Those are actually the spots that you see that they're occupying west of Kilo. What had happened apparently is when they developed that area, where you see those aircraft that are parked facing north next to the taxiway, you can say that half of those aircraft are within Coast leasehold, and the other half of the aircraft, meaning the physical aircraft. So the tail of the aircraft is within their leasehold, but the portion that's north, like where the propellers are not within the leaseholds. So we're just trying to recapture what has been happening for some time, and we're getting the city whole. Apparently it wasn't captured, so we're just trying to make sure that we collect on what they're actually doing at the moment.
Okay, so they're gonna pay back rent on half of those.
Correct.
Okay, that sounds good. And Thurman, again, welcome back. Also, so on the hotel, this thing seems to have not gone anywhere, and nothing, no slide on you or your department, but seems like it's every month we get report that legal is working on it, but nothing seems to happen. Do you have any kind of date when the legal department expects to have something resolved, and so they can move forward and get this thing back on track?
Legal processes is very extensive and time consuming, and we'd like to, as much as possible, avoid going to court with this particular lessee. So we're preparing settlement offers, which has to be approved by the city. Excuse me, got something in my throat. Which has to be approved by the city staff, all to the highest level, before we move forward with that. So it's just taking time.
Well, but I would think that the legal department, most court cases and most legal proceedings, they have a budgetary timeline. I would think the legal department could say, give us some sort of timeline when this thing's going to be resolved, because it's been going on for years.
Dave,
Right.
COVID just pushed everything back in the courts too, by years.
And the lessee's been in bankruptcy. That's complicated things. The lessee's no longer in bankruptcy, which is what's allowed us to move forward.
Okay, I get the impression that the city legal department is just milking the airport fund for it's their legal way of funding their department with airport funds when they wouldn't normally be able to. I think they need to move forward and get this thing done.
Moving right along, Director Rubio.
Yes, I think Ms. Golden maybe has a.
Oh, Lisa, your hand is up.
Yes, I have a question. Actually, before I ask the question, just on the last comment about things moving very slowly, the courts are incredibly backed up. If you want to get even a single motion on the docket, it takes sometimes 3 to 6 months to get it on the docket, even just to be heard. And emergencies are heard 2 weeks after the fact. So nothing is moving very quickly in any court in this country at the moment.
Right.
But the question I had for you is, there was just a news item, I think it was last week, and there was some sort of criminal activity or something going on over there at that hotel. Is there a security problem over there?
So that's something that came to us. We are not really sure what happened. We also were made aware by reading the article that you probably read. And we contacted the hotel and they're unable to give us additional information. I think the federal agencies are investigating right now. As you saw in the news article, there were some suspicious individuals. So
I think it was a bomb or something they set off, a small bomb.
we don't know what it is, but the article said that it may be something similar to a pipe bomb or something like that, but I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's a problem with the city providing, since this is in litigation and the city has a vested interest in keeping this thing intact, if there's an issue with the city needing security over there. And some sort of supervision, if nothing else, to no other term I can think of.
So, Mr. Chair, if you allow me, there is somebody who wants to talk on this. His name is Sheldon Zeman. He is with Councilmember Kate's office. I think he may have additional information. If you're okay, I'll allow him as a panelist and he can speak. Go ahead, Sheldon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jorge. Yeah, it was a pipe bomb. There, from what I understand, there have been 2 arrests made regarding the pipe bomb situation. It was a small pipe bomb. I can't remember if it went off, but there have been, at least from the police report at our last town council meeting, the Claremont Community Town Council, 2 arrests have been made on that. Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Director Rubio, are you finished with your staff reports?
I am finished with my staff reports. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, actually, one more thing before we get too far away from Charlie Broadbent, and I can take this to you off the record if you want, but I have received more complaints about the run-ups being done in non-run-up areas, and got a couple specifics where photos were taken of the airplane. You probably don't want me talking to Gibbs or Advance about this, right? Do you want to do it?
We will handle it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir. Just let us know and we can handle it.
Okay, yeah, that's not a big deal, but it's something probably should be reached out to those guys. All right, moving along to my favorite part of the meeting, it's air traffic control tower report. Joel, you've been so patient sitting here through all of this. Are there any public comments, Director Rubio, on the control tower report?
No public comments on this item.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ryan to share his report with us.
Good afternoon, board members. Going back to the traffic count, our traffic count for 2021 was, the actual number was 300,673. That was our actual number. So other than that, we're just plugging away. My controllers are working with Telesolve to make you guys safe, the community safe. On that, I got nothing else to report.
Are the pilots calling in with the hold short and tail numbers any better than they were before?
Oh, it's getting a lot better, and then especially with the non-standard market on the runways, it actually really helped out with the incursions.
Thank you. You guys do a fantastic job. Every time I fly, I'm impressed with the professionalism and the skill of the people in that tower.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, and I'll relay that to the controllers.
Tom, you got a question? You're muted.
Sorry about that.
There you
It's
go.
more of an air traffic, a general question, going back to what Andy was talking about, but because we're talking about traffic counts and stuff, I wanted to just jump in here. How do we keep track of traffic counts after hours?
At Montgomery, we don't, after the tire close, you don't keep track of those numbers.
Okay, so the same thing for at Brown. So whenever we're shut down, like we had a couple of weeks ago, those numbers just go out the window. We don't average them or anything like that.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
What a ripoff. All right. Thank you, Joel. Do we have any other reports, Director Rubio? Oh, Dave Gordon's got his hand up. Dave?
Just a quick question for Joel. Now that we have, I guess we had 1 and now we've got 4 ATP airplanes operating. I understand they are not allowed to use 28 left. How much is that disrupting your folks in the tower? When they come in from Mount Soledad, you got to make special arrangements, it looks like, to let them come in and land on 28, right?
I mean, it disrupts, but not too much. Controllers here, they're professional, and they'll handle it and handle the requests as needed. But, you know, ideally, if they could use 2/8 left, it would help us out. But, you know, according to their company policy, you know, 2/8 left they can't use. There's other airplanes on the airfield that can't use 2/8 left, and you know, we accommodate them on 2/8 right as much as possible.
I applaud you guys for doing that. Personally, as a pilot and as a CFI, I'm appalled that we have a flight school that it's turning out a whole bunch of pilots that can't land on a 60-foot wide runway with a Cessna 172. But this isn't the right forum, I guess, to complain about that.
Exactly. Okay, so moving right along to other reports. Item number 9, Director Rubio, do we have any public comment on other reports?
No, I don't, but I believe Mr. Sheldon Zemin has a.
Oh, Sheldon, yes, got your hand up down there. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Go ahead.
I thought I lowered my hand.
Okay.
Maybe I was a little late on that. By the way, while I'm on here, I looked at my notes and saw that the pipe bomb was detonated, and the 2 arrests were made. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And you can put your hand up anytime in this meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, so other reports. We don't have any public comment on that. Do we have any other reports, Director Rubio?
No other reports, other than the ones that are in the packet, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Committee comments. We're now in the committee comments section. Are there any public comment for committee comments?
No public comment. Committee comments.
I got one committee comment question.
We're not there yet, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said
public comment.
Oh, I thought you said committee.
We're not public. Okay. Are there any committee member comments? If there are, you may speak.
Okay. I probably should have asked Charlie about this during his report, but about a month ago, we had an incident where a pedestrian was out on 2/8 right, and the police and the tower did a fantastic job of corralling this guy, and 3 cruisers came out. I happened to be there, around the airport listening on the radio. And did we ever find out who this guy was, or why he was on the airport and running out on the runway trying to get into Paul Tierston's citation?
Yeah, so I talked to Able Base, and they had some information regarding the police report. And I can't give too many details. I don't have all the details because some of it's confidential, I think. But it was somebody that was kind of mentally unstable at the time. Possibly, they said that there was some substance, an illegal substance involved, and they were taken to a facility to care for them mentally. So that's basically all I know. And we submitted the report to the FAA, and it's all closed out. Basically, we submitted all the details, and it's all closed out now. So luckily there wasn't any injuries. We don't want something like that to happen. We want to avoid it at all costs. However, sometimes, the unknown happens, but it turned out okay.
Oh, good. I'm glad it wasn't a terrorist thing, but and again, I think the tower and the police did a fantastic job of taking care of that really quickly.
Ron Lee has his hand up.
Hi, just wanted to let everybody know that we're working on a project to put a tethered hot air balloon at the Hotel Del Coronado on the beach on March 14th, and then later during spring break for some other programs there. The balloon, this is with our coordination and approval through Naval Air Station North Island. The balloon top skin is going to be at 150 feet. So the balloon's 80 feet tall. It's going to go up 70 feet. It will be tethered. But for any pilots who are in that area, they need to be aware that that aircraft will be between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Monday, March 14th. That balloon will be doing balloon rides. And then later during spring break, we'll do some more of those.
Cool. Any other comments? All righty. We are on item number 11, adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I do.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time and energy in this. I'll see you in a month, maybe even in person.
Thank
Thanks.
you so much. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Aye.